Your job is the result of a 10,000-year evolution. We are distinct from other species not just because we use tools, but because we become them. We're breaking down how the human workplace went from caves to cubicles. And what comes next? Are robots and AI about to make you obsolete? And how do you future-proof your career when human jobs start to disappear? You need to see this. What if your workplace is more than just a desk or a factory floor? Think of it as the forge where human progress is hammered out. This is the place where, for centuries, we have brought our skills and our tools to produce value. Work isn't just a chore, it's the engine of our civilization. It's the critical resource that, along with land, capital, and technology, fuels our economies and moves all of humanity forward. Many believe humanity rose above the animal kingdom the moment we picked up our first tool. But if you've seen a monkey use a stick or a bird build a nest, you know that's not the full story. The real evolutionary spark wasn't just using tools, it was the moment we realized we could make them better. That conscious desire to improve our tools ignited the very fire of human evolution. In the beginning, the human job was a brutal daily fight for survival. It was all about hunting down prey, foraging for edible plants, and preparing a meal over the fire. And for protection, you wore the skins and fur of the animals you'd killed. That was the original grind. But this work had a hidden deadly cost. The first artisans spent countless hours meticulously chipping stones to create the sharp blades and arrowhead that defined their existence. With every strike, they inhaled a cloud of fine silica dust. This dust caused a progressive lung disease called silicosis. Tired of the dangerous, endless hunt, humans had a brilliant idea. Instead of chasing animals, they would just raise them. That's how we got livestock farming. Then they took it a step further and started planting seeds right outside their homes, giving birth to crop farming. This wasn't just a new way of life, this was the start of agriculture and the Agrarian Revolution. It was the moment that changed everything and led to a huge leap forward for all of humanity. Archaeologists call the move to farming the Neolithic Catastrophe. Why? Because the first farmers started living worse than the hunter-gatherer before them. They had less protein, more diseases, terrible teeth, and constant back-breaking labor. Their lives were even shorter. Lifespan dropped from 33 to 35 years down to just 26 to 30. Farming was tough. People had to use sticks and hoes to break up the ground. A slow and exhausting job, but then a brilliant idea came: the plow. The simple tool, pulled by an ox or a donkey, could dig deep and turn over huge fields in a fraction of the time. The plow wasn't just a new invention, it was a total upgrade for humanity. It allowed us to grow more food than ever before and build the first great villages and cities. Stone tools were great, but they had their limits. As farming got bigger and tribes started fighting, people needed something much stronger and sharper than rock. They needed metal, and that's how a new type of job was born, the metallurgist. The person who figured out how to turn simple ore into the tools and weapons that would change the world forever. Imagine ancient people tossing shiny green and blue rocks, copper ore, into the flames. Maybe they thought they were just pretty colors for paint or lucky charms. Around 1080 degrees Celsius, something amazing happened on those hot coals. Drops of pure copper started to appear, shiny, heavy and reddish. That was the start of the Copper Age, like 5,000 years ago in Turkey and the Middle East. For the first time, people weren't just chipping away at stones. They were melting metal, shaping it and pouring it into molds. They made axes, daggers, arrowheads out of copper. And jewelry, of course, gotta look good. So the Copper Age wasn't just an upgrade for tools. It was a total game changer for humanity. Think of it as the bridge between cave dwelling and building actual cities. For the first time, you see huge towns emerging. We're talking proper houses, warehouses, even temples. And some of them were huge. In Eastern Europe, one culture built settlements for 10,000 people. That's not a village, that's a small city. Basically, this is when life got complicated in a good way. This is where society started to get organized. You had leaders and followers, people with special jobs like craftsmen, and grain stored in huge public barns. The blueprint for modern society was being drawn. So while blacksmiths were busy forging deadlier swords, society was also coming alive. People started building incredible temples, creating stunning art and learning how to live together in brand new ways. This was the dawn of ancient culture. Its creators didn't just build white marble masterpieces, they shaped our world with geometry, literature and fine wine. And that was just the beginning. They also invented the Olympic Games, advanced medicine, and the radical idea that people should rule themselves. But just as civilization was thriving, everything came crashing down. Waves of nomadic warriors, the barbarians, attacked the great flourished empires, burning, looting, and plunging humanity into the era we now call the Dark Ages. But amidst all the chaos of war, the castles of feudal lords became protected bubbles of civilization. Behind these stone walls, religion flourished, and for centuries, dedicated monks would hand copy books, a process that could take years. Then a game-changing technology appeared, the printing press. Suddenly, knowledge could be shared faster than ever before. It was like going from dial-up internet to fiber optic overnight, and it changed everything. Believe it or not, the seeds of modern medicine and chemistry were planted in the Middle Ages. Think bubbling potions and strange experiments, that was alchemy. While searching for magic formulas, they accidentally discovered all sorts of cool chemical reactions and laid the groundwork for future doctors and scientists. Now you're inside a medieval dye house. Forget factory chemicals. Here were masters of natural color. They carefully boil down roots, berries and even rocks, turning them into dyes that will bring life to fabric, thread by painstaking thread. So how did medieval society avoid collapse? 3 key innovations. First, they mastered old-school tech. Ancient professions like pottery didn't just survive, they thrived, evolving to become more efficient and productive than ever before. Second, they invented. Using new knowledge of mechanics, they built the first complex hand-operated machines from wood and iron. Think of the loom, a simple device that revolutionized the production of clothing and textiles for millions. And third, they scaled up their power source. They realized the ultimate cheat code was the free energy of nature. By mastering water wheels and windmills, they created mechanical power to mill flour on an industrial scale. This wasn't just clever, it was essential for survival. It was the only way to feed a population that was growing faster than ever before. The Middle Ages didn't just end, they were sailed away from. We entered the age of discovery. Suddenly, the map wasn't a prison, it was a playground. Trade, fleets, and gunpowder forged the first true globalization. The world just got a lot bigger, and a lot more dangerous. In this era, the merchant became the architect of the economy. His hunger for goods drove production to the limit. To feed this hunger, the sea became our highway. Shipyards roared to life, demanding a new breed of worker, from the master shipwright shaping oak hulls to the captain navigating by the stars. But trade needs protection. Enter the gunpowder revolution. Firearms didn't just change weapons, they rewrote the rules of war. The knight in armor, obsolete. To survive cannon fire, our cities transformed into geometric star forts. War became a science. Back on land, the pressure to produce exploded. The old manufactory, built on manual labor, began to mutate. It slowly evolved into the factory, where machines began to rise and human hands began to serve them. For centuries, humanity was a prisoner of power, shortage, and geography. We were trapped. If you wanted power, you needed a rushing river or a howling wind. If nature stopped, we stopped. Our ambition was limited by the strength of muscle and bone. But in the mid-18th century, we broke the chains. We invented the steam engine. Suddenly, we didn't need a river. We could build one out of fire and water, anywhere, anytime. It was the spark that ignited the Industrial Revolution. But steam didn't work alone. It needed a body of steel. A century earlier, we had mastered the blast furnace, perfecting the alchemy of ore, carbon and oxygen. Now, steam engines powered massive bellows, feeding oxygen to the fires. More heat meant stronger metal. Stronger metal meant machines that could change the world. The workshop became the factory. Steam drove the looms, the lathes, the saws. Production fabrics were born, and then we gave wheels to the engine. Locomotives and steamships shrank the globe. Trade accelerated from a trot to a gallop. In this new world, the peasant became the machine operator, the blacksmith became the metallurgist, the alchemist became the engineer. The coachman traded his reins for the throttle, while the groom became the stoker. These were the new masters of pressure and steel. We had conquered physical power, but we were just getting started. This concludes part 1. Join us in part 2 as we explore the next giant leap, the rise of industrial electricity and the birth of modern electronics, launching humanity straight into the digital age.